Well, guys, it is my great privilege and an honor to be facilitating and introducing Tim Benton, one of my dear friends and former teammates at Menlo. Just love this guy. He's truly the man, an absolute legend. I think anybody who comes into contact with him, however briefly or enduring, feels the same. He's just got that quality about him. And for those of you who know him, you can feel it emanating just from his spirit. And I count myself very lucky to be up here talking about you, my friend. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. Start out by saying that I've known Tim for half my life now, which is pretty incredible. But notably, I've known of him for much longer because he used to just lay waste to the local sports scene, was just kind of one of those mythical figures that you heard of in Little League or youth basketball. And so I was lucky enough to ride his coattails when we became teammates at Menlo in high school. And we just became fast friends immediately. And one thing that really made me realize that Tim was kind of built different was our sophomore year. He was really looking forward to coming out, dominating the old run and shoot offense. It was going to be his time to shine, but he was felled by a knee injury, unfortunately, which is, I think, hard to understate how devastating that is, especially when you have to get surgery. You don't know what your future is going to be. Dreams are kind of, hanging by a thread at that point. But he worked hard to get back to 100% for his junior year and proceeded to just put up some ungodly numbers, like just unholy stuff over the next 2 years. I know we don't want to get too gaudy with the stats here, but 133 receptions, 2,600 yards, and 21 touchdowns over 2 seasons. And he was sharing the field his junior year with fellow inductee, I believe today, Clay Robbins, who similarly did some nasty stuff out there, most of which was assisted by Danny DeKroger as well, who's sitting there. Shout out to Danny. Not to mention he won back-to-back CCS titles in baseball and was a scholastic champion to boot, so count that. So after kind of imposing his will on the defensive backs of San Mateo County, he mercifully moved on to University of California, Davis, currently the 7th ranked team in the nation, go Ags. And he broke out onto the scene in 2012 with 20 receptions and an incredible touchdown against Weber State, which if you guys can find that in the archives, it's really worth a look. It's pretty astounding stuff. And I think that year in particular, even though I wasn't there to witness it, it was across the country, it kind of made me realize what fundamentally made Tim a pretty special guy. He had this single-minded mentality, this mental formidability that I really respected, a precocious professionalism that I think, despite his willingness to be goofy and hang out with you, be off the field and take your mind off things, he's very professional and he gets down to business, something I really admire in my buddy. And it's also conducive to him outworking everybody around him, despite some of the guys he came in with were highly ranked recruits, and he outworked them and was able to beat him out. And also an unyielding competitive spirit, which if you've been on the field with him, can lead him to do some pretty incredible things. I used to go in the huddle, tell him what the play was. He'd be like, "What is that? I have no clue what you're talking about." And I'd just be like, "Just do your thing." Because he has such incredible instincts and athletic ability that if you combine those two, it's just going to produce magic every time. So we could just throw the ball up to him, and that was going to happen. And Mel, I've never told you this, but I wasn't privy to when you guys were dating, but I'd moved away before, and I knew that these instincts transcended, the play field. And he met you, and he said, "I'm marrying this woman." And I moved to New York, and I was like, you know what? I don't even need to worry about vetting whatever because we're good to go. I'll just look out for the wedding invitation in the mail, and we'll see you guys in a couple of years. And that's how it worked out. So that doesn't speak to those instincts. I don't know what does. And so I think, after his football career wrapped up, I think very tellingly, he came back to Menlo to work in the athletic department as a coach, imparting his wisdom on kind of up and coming knights across all sports. And I think everybody knows, and I, especially do, that all those kids who he worked with are so much better for it in every way, not just athletically, but spiritually and personally, interpersonally, and I don't think there's a better illustration of Tim's character than that, quite frankly. And his legacy is just getting started. It's going to continue to proliferate via these kids that he's worked with, and to continue on the success that he's had, most excitingly as a husband and a new father. And shout out Harper Benson over there, his baby girl. So Tim, we're super proud of you. It's really an honor to be here, and love you, buddy. So without further ado.